I recently made a video that was commentary on some societal issues. And one of the comments I received under the video was someone criticizing me for doing that. And they told me that they wanted me to stay focused on spirituality and not talk about social issues because I was just feeding the division when I did that. And as usual, when I receive critical feedback like that, I feel really lucky that someone is taking the time to give me some notes on my performance, so to speak. They're giving me not just praise, which feels good. It can be really reassuring when I'm feeling insecure about what I'm doing, which is a lot of the time, especially since I'm just starting this channel and it's not growing very quickly so far. But more than praise, perhaps even more important, is getting that critical feedback. Like, if you have cancer and you go to a doctor, which do you need them to tell you? That everything's okay, or to tell you what's actually wrong? Because if you don't know what you're doing wrong or what your body is doing wrong, then you can't fix it, right? So I'm super grateful when people give me critical feedback because I know it's not easy to do. And it doesn't mean that I just accept it blindly. I might not agree with it, but I will think about it and I will contemplate it. And that's what I did when this woman told me that. I took some time to think about it. In fact, I kept thinking about it because I'm just the kind of person that can't not process everything super deeply. That's just an idiosyncrasy of being me, is that everything gets processed deeply. Okay. I wish I could turn it off and turn it on when needed, but it's just always on. Okay. So I will say that if something I write or something I post on video makes you angry, like it made this woman angry, she said it made her angry, I think that's a good sign that there might be something for her to look at, for you to look at, for me to look at when something makes me angry. It's a sign that there might be something to look at there. Having said that, I think she was right. Right now, we are being flooded with division in the media, and I've made a few videos talking about societal issues, and I haven't made it clear enough that I'm not here to promote more division. I haven't made it clear enough what my actual vision of other people is, even the ones that I might be criticizing, and I want to do that right now. I believe people don't do bad things because people are bad. People do good things because people are good. And they do bad things because they've forgotten that they're good. And or they've forgotten that other people are good. So we don't do bad things because we're bad. We do good things because we're inherently good. Our core is pure goodness. That is why we do good things. Genuine, authentic, good things. We do that because that's rising up from our core. We do bad things not because badness is rising up from our core. We do bad things because we've lost touch with our core. We've become confused. We've become misinformed. In The Karate Kid, back in the 80s, Mr. Miyagi tells Daniel-san, "No bad student, only bad teacher." And I have to disagree with him. I think he's totally wrong. Sorry, Mr. Miyagi. There's no bad student, but there's also no bad teacher. There's only bad teachings. There's no bad people, but there is bad ideas, bad beliefs, bad thoughts. And the thing that makes them bad is that they're not true. And yet we often believe they're true. And then we act from that belief and we end up harming ourselves and others. And these bad ideas can possess millions of people and cause them to unknowingly, in their confusion, in their lack of clarity, harm other people and themselves. So whenever I'm talking about social justice issues, societal issues, if I veer into politics, it's always with this understanding that there are no bad people. I don't have any boogeymen out there. Not Trump, not Biden, not Elon Musk, not some hidden oligarchy, which I actually believe exists. I believe there is a hidden deep state oligarchy of people who are inherently good, and I am inherently connected to them, but they are possessed by bad ideas that are convincing them to do things that are harming other people and harming society. That's always where I'm coming from. I don't believe in bad people. And that's based on deep, deep, deep investigation into human nature over 40 years. I've seen it over and over, and so many times I've forgotten more times than I can remember. Seeing that a bad behavior in someone was coming from confusion, and when you get that person to touch back into their core essence, that bad behavior evaporates and the light rises up in them and shines out of their eyes again. And from that place, they cannot harm other people. It's a beautiful thing to see that happen. And I've seen it happen so many times over the years. I also want to say that I don't really see a difference between spirituality and social activism. To me, social activism is what spirituality looks like when it drops down to the level of the balls. When it reaches the testicles, or if you're a woman, the ovaries, then that spiritual understanding, the understanding of our oneness with God and with each other, manifests as concern for other people, concern for society, wanting to do the right thing by other people, wanting to get rid of the bad ideas in society that are hurting people and restore society, which is basically a group of people, to a state of alignment with their core, which is pure goodness. Another reason I feel that societal issues are so important is because it is a missing field of human psychology. I'm a student of human psychology just as much as I am spirituality. I've been super interested in psychology since I was a toddler, according to my mother anyway. Yet I live in a society where we don't have any psychology of the masses. We don't have any societal psychology. We don't recognize the effect of society on individual psychology. And I think that is a massive, massive error. It is an incomprehensibly large oversight that when someone presents to a therapist, to a psychologist or psychiatrist and says, I'm really unhappy, the psychiatrist, well, they used to say, tell me about your mother and your father and your relationships. And nowadays they just say, well, let me prescribe something for you to fix your brain chemistry, which is obviously messed up because you're feeling unhappy. So it must be something going on in your brain. But psychology almost never talks about the effect of the mass paradigm, the socioeconomic structure on our psychology. If we live in a horrible, oppressive society, it's going to impact our psychology. It's not always about us. It's not always about our mom and our dad and our brain chemistry. Sometimes it's about we live in a cage. We live in an oppressive system. That's a huge part of psychology that we can't just ignore or sweep under the rug. Why does academia do that? Well, I mean, on the positive end, we can only really change ourselves. That's the only thing that we have a lot of control over, is changing our inner state. That's a mature outlook. You know, we should always look to ourselves first. But the inner and the outer are not really separate. If we're living in oppressive conditions, we're going to be made miserable by that. That's indisputable. So why does psychology tend to ignore that aspect? Well, my conspiracy theory is academia doesn't want to bring criticism to the system that's funding all of their efforts, funding the universities and all the grants and donor money that they get by wealthy people who are at the top of the socioeconomic ladder. Those people don't want to fund psychologists who point a finger of blame back on them, on the economic disparity in our system. So they keep it focused on us. What's wrong with us? And of course, nowadays, there's a hugely lucrative mental health care system that profits off of that model, selling us more and more drugs. The mental health manual used to have, I don't know, a couple of dozen syndromes listed in it, and now it's got hundreds of syndromes listed in it, and every one of those syndromes has its own prescription drug. It's a profit-based model, not a healing model. So I do think it's really important to talk about society, to bring that same spiritual understanding all the way down into our body and letting it spread out on every level in our interpersonal relationships, in our societal connection, and in our connection with God and our higher self. Political activism is supposed to sort of address the problems in society, but the problem there is that it's almost completely divorced from the inner work. We've separated politics from psychology. And no matter which way you're going, whether you're looking at an individual or you're looking at society, separating those two things leaves us with a broken model. It is not a model that we can use to truly fix and heal things. We have to have a model that recognizes the inner and the outer are connected and inseparable, and they must work together. What I mean by that is that we have to do our inner work, and that's actually the more important one, the one we have to start with and end with, but we also have to do our outer work. We also have to let our inner awakening manifest outwardly in society, which means if we see bad ideas hurting people, we need to speak up about it, but not from a place of blaming people and attacking people and demonizing people. Good ones over here, these are my people. Bad ones over there, that's them, the bad ones. And I'm over here with the good ones. If we're doing that, we are lost, drowning in ego. That's what that is. A non-ego-based view of society, of people, is we're all inherently good, inherently loving, inherently connected, and yet we do get taken over by bad ideas and we lose touch with that core of goodness. And then we hurt ourselves and we hurt others and we hurt society. Before I finish this video, I just want to mention there's another hugely important dimension of reality that involves human psychology that is also missing from mainstream psychology, and that's spirituality. You cannot have a human psychology model that is complete and whole that leaves out spirituality, both the influence of negative spiritual beings, what they call in internal family systems, they call them unattached burdens. But, every system around the planet for all of human history has had a name for these things. The reason why is it's a universal human experience. It's a universal element to human life, that there is a spiritual dimension that directly impacts our inner psychology. In fact, I would say that our inner psychology exists ontologically on the spiritual dimension. Our inner mind is a spiritual organ. In fact, that's why it persists after the death of these meat suits that we pilot around. Ultimately, what I would love for this channel is for me to share ideas with you guys and for you guys to share your thoughts back to me in the comments section, especially if you disagree with me. That's super important because you might be right. You might be disagreeing with me because you're right and I'm wrong. And I know that. And I don't care. Okay? I don't care if I'm wrong. What I mean by that is I don't care about me maintaining a facade of being right and being smart and a know-it-all. I don't care about that. I just don't. I care about truth. And truth is not something that I own, and it's not something that any of you own. It's something that we need each other to help each other arrive at together. We need to help each other arrive at the truth together. We're indispensable to each other for knowing what the truth is. So ultimately, what I would love for this channel to be is something that I've been missing my entire life. It's like a craving I have for a nutrient that's been missing from my diet. And one term for it is Socratic dialogue. When people would get around in a big room with Socrates and they would discuss big issues of the day or deep philosophical issues, and they would help each other to expose their hidden assumptions, the hidden assumptions underneath their beliefs. They would help each other to see those and then to expose them to the light of awareness and reason and see if they're true or not. So they would help each other arrive at the truth. And ultimately, that's the kind of relationship that I want with anyone listening to my videos. I'm not here to be up on a throne or a higher level, because I'm not on a higher level. I'm just a guy who's 89% enlightened. I'm just kidding. That's a joke I tell my kids all the time. I'm totally joking. I'm just a guy muddling my way through as best I can, who recognizes that I need others' help. And I have figured some things out in my 40-year investigation. All of those years were not in vain. It seems pretty sure, it seems likely that I figured some things out. Some of the things I figured out, I've been able to reality test them over and over and over, and they seem to be true. And some of those things aren't things that a lot of people know. Some of the things I figured out is not common knowledge. So I'm sharing those things on this channel, but not from a belief that I'm right and others are wrong and they have to accept what I'm saying. And I know that I'm wrong about stuff, and I just don't know what it is exactly that I'm wrong about. I need other people to help me see that. It's a very egalitarian and unified vision that I bring to this channel and to this work that I'm doing. I hope you join me. It'd be really fun